Where's the smiles? Where's the laughter? I thought y'all said you're gonna stop with laughter. See, now we're gonna sing. Grand Rising, our beautiful family out there. How are you all doing? We pray that you all are having a blessed day full of love and light. I'm so happy, wow, to be here today. Of course, every day, all day, and every day. But first, let's start off welcoming our hostesses with the mostesses. And we got a new hostess with some mostess too. DeAnna, aka Sunshine, bringing her flame to this world, helping us to uplift hearts everywhere. Yes, boom, setting hearts on fire. And Jessie, aka Moon Goddess. Oh my goodness, who was going to do that? Yes, 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 shedding her light and love and energy to the world everywhere. And of course, always light, aka Universal Teacher Willow in the house. Yes, spreading that wisdom as it comes to us every day. And everyone, you know what we did? We brought back our brother of the light, sharing his wisdom with us. You all, he just blew up the internet last week, right, everyone? You all could not stop talking about our brother's wisdom, and here we brought him back to talk more about growing with the flow, right? Growing with the flow. But before we do that,
I love this life. This is amazing. It came with challenges, but I was growing with them, and I love it.
what is this ship you were talking about last week?
The ship. You want to know more about the ship?
Bring it. Yes, we need to know.
All right. So, we got so many types of ships out here. We got ships on the water, ships on land, got ships in the air. So I happen to be one inside, one that rolls on land. I call it my spaceship because I'm an extraterrestrial, and I wherever I go. But I'm not alien.
Are you sure?
He said, "Are you?" Wait, you had to think about it. ¿En serio? You had to think about it.
Visitor to this planet. That I do know.
All right now.
Dee was like,
I know.
Yeah, welcome to my spaceship. Put on some stars for you all.
Oh! In a galaxy far, far away.
Right.
Far away. Nice. So tell us more about it. Why? What is the ship all about?
Yeah, so being in the flow, a little preface to how I got this spaceship. I was living in Southeast Asia, came back to the United States, and I'm going to borrow that line from that elder from New York: rent's too damn high.
Oh my God, Angela, you're gonna lose it.
I'm sorry, I didn't prepare you for that.
No.
He wasn't supposed to, so I can get your genuine reaction. I love that.
Yeah, it was a kind of fiasco. I was living the good life on a very good, I'll just say rental in Asia, and I was living real nice. And I came back to Philadelphia, had to do with my family and manage some things. And I looked at the rent, and I'm like, say what? What do I start to rent like this? Something that would have been like equivalent to what I was living in Asia. Now, this is kind of reverse, right? I was living real nice, modern apartment. And for me to get something like that in the US, it'd have been like $2,000. I was like, say what? So I just got on a mission, and I was manifesting my thoughts out there. I was just aligning my I had an electronic board where I was just posting pictures of what I wanted. I was like, well, I want a tiny house actually. So I was like, so a tiny house would be great. And but then I found one that I really liked, and I was like, ooh, this is a good one. And at the same time, I had boosted up my credit score so I can walk into the bank and say, give me some money, and I was like, because that's how we flow. And I was all ready, and then I sat in meditation. This is wonderful. This is great. And then the voice said, well, where do you want to put it? I was like, that's a great question. And how are you going to move it? So I was like, ooh, better question. So I need a truck. I need a place to put it. I like to travel. So how's that going to work? So anyway, I started to switch my thought patterns to getting a van, an RV van that allowed me to have a home on wheels and the freedom to just be where I need to be. And that was part of the negotiation that I had with myself and my those who look after me, my guides. And they're like, so you want to do something to be flexible. And you know what? It actually worked out because this was pre-pandemic. I've now actually been in, it'll be 3 years, November 27th. And so it worked out perfectly. I flew over to Arizona to pick it up. And ever since then, I was like, I love this. I love this life. This is amazing. It came with challenges, but I was growing with them, and I love it. So welcome to my spaceship.
Oh. Wow. Talk about being in the flow. Just listening to your story. You listen, you were calm. You breathe first. That's always, everyone. Bring that air into your mind, your body, just, and then ask those questions that we were talking about yesterday, those amazing questions. And when you're in that state, when you're in a state of the flow, you get your answers. Look how fast the answers came. Boom. Oh yeah. Thank you. So fast.
Everyone can do this. We have to remove all obstacles that are hindering our ability to receive instantaneously.
I know sometimes people, it's like, I don't know, I use the word magic, but sometimes magic could be elusive for people because they're like, oh, you got some kind of special power, that's why it's happening for you. Everyone can do this. We have to remove all obstacles that are hindering our ability to receive instantaneously. I tell people, I said, I know for a long time, and even now, a lot of people talk about the law of attraction. I said, there's another law that is overlooked. It's the law of distraction.
Ooh.
So
I'm gonna ring the bell, David.
Please.
Not for distraction, but for the what?
Yes.
Yes, there's a law of distraction. So as we know, we live in the world of duality. So where there's push and pull. And if you study Tai Chi or Qigong, there's two forces that are moving, and you have to create an alignment so they move in harmony. Which reminds me of a conversation I had in Thailand with a Tai Chi acupuncturist, and she said, she was going through the tests and looking at my meridians, and she says, you're doing great. She says, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And I was like, oh, I was expecting to get some needles, getting some chi flowing. She was like, no, you're good. I'm like, oh, so now what? She's like, well, since you paid for your session, we'll have a conversation. So she shared some very good wisdom with me. She said, are you familiar with the yin and yang? I said, yes, I actually am. She said, all right, great. She said, do you know that a lot of times people think of it as balance? I said, yeah, isn't that what it means? She says, no, actually, you want to refrain from trying to balance. And I was like, tell me more.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, this is me, that's me.
Yeah.
She said, it takes force and energy to balance. to keep doing this. Balance is continuously doing this. And she said, sometimes you may find yourself too far up or opposite. It's always an oppositional force. I said, all right, I'm following you. She said, what you want to do is be in harmony.
Wow.
So she said, harmony is just you being with what's happening, not trying to change it from one stage to another. It doesn't require force or energy. I said, oh, you're talking, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said, yeah. So she did another level. She said, usually the grandmasters or practitioners, as you move in your practice, it's hard to describe it to a person who doesn't practice. Well, what they do is like, you have to experience the flow first, be able to actually get that deepness, that what they're meaning by harmonizing, because they tell you in the beginning in like Tai Chi, there's a stage in which you arrive called the Wu Ji, the original state. And so Wu Ji is like, it could be seen as nothing or nothingness. But like I said before, it's the energy in which causes all things to be. So it's formless, it's without form or fashion. But this Wu Ji is our original state. It's so fluid. It's just, we can move in and around all things. Of course, we've all heard this we've seen that interview with Bruce Lee, to be like water. You know, and many practitioners speak about this as you move in your practice. You see this in Reiki, you'll see this in martial arts, you'll see this in with any athletic ability. You know, they'll call it being in the zone. It's like you see them and they're like, what were you thinking? I wasn't thinking at all. I was in the zone. They're like, you executed that perfectly. I did. All I know is I was fixed. My mind was focused and fixed, and there I was, you know. So yeah, so that's all the energy, like what I utilize, and you know, what I did to manifest it. So I did what there was to do. I didn't just say, give me, I receive. No, I had to actually put in some work. So I was searching.
A relationship, huh? A relationship. You have to build a relationship.
Yes, yeah, there you go. I love that. Creationship.
Yes.
You got to use this. You got to use this element of air and vocal cords, bringing those two together. You know, you hear mantra or chanting or affirmation. There is power in that. Taking the air element and using your essence and bring it, and then putting it back into the atmosphere is reality. I do suggest you try it out. I'm
having a ball because I had a conversation with my guys last night about a relationship, right? We were talking about building a relationship. And I briefly said it to Angie. I said it and I said, look, I was like, it's because of the reasons what's been going on in the show, that we've been, you know, like shifting into a new stage of our lives. We're going with the flow of the energies. And that's what's happening with us right now. So our guides were like, yeah, well, you know, like the thing is that people just want to snap into it and they don't even build a relationship. So I love that you're explaining it like this, and that you're called to say it like this, because my guides were like, yeah, you know, it's like you came and you built this relationship with us. You didn't just like sit in the bathroom and bam, it happened for you. You actually put in the work. You go on the walks, you dance with us, you scream with us, you put us in all of it. So I am so thankful for this conversation.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I know sometimes we look on the outside and we don't see the mechanical steps. And so, you know, trust me, those that are here are putting in the work on a consistent basis, and because they know that it takes some action. It does take action. Now, I heard one teacher tell me one time, he said, you know, and this is for those who understand the, I'll say the concept of karma, and they know that if you, so this teacher said, you know, a lot of times you're receiving things in your life from previous actions. your sort of your karma, things that you've done. So it may come easy because you have already been building this, and now you're in a place of receiving. So he said, but don't think that you shouldn't be building. You should always be creating good energy or good flow in your existence, so that that it's like you're making an investment in yourself, and so that the right time when you need that energy, it's like when you may be feeling a little low, you can go in there and reach in and say, hey, I'm sorry, I got this, and I can pull that into this moment, and I can shift, and I don't have to stay too long inside of a low energy, because we do find in life there are ups and downs, and so let's not be enamored with just the ups. Because and say the ups are the greatest and they feel good, and when I'm down, and you're like, oh. So, it's to get out of that mode of actually, when we shift out of that mode, it's just like the balancing, where we just harmonize with what's going on. It takes movement, to move through this, to go through life. It takes movement. In order for movement to have, it has to be up and down. So we shift our consciousness to say, this is just ups and downs to move me forward. And if I can override me thinking that I don't like this, if I can override that in that moment, then I can coast through it and say, that's just what happened. I got a flat tire and I was on the way to a meeting, and yeah, I'm late now. So that's what happened. I can't get, you can choose not to be upset about it. You can actually say, that just happened. All right. What is there to do?
That just happened. Yeah. We tell ourselves everything occurs for a reason, but I love it because the universe allows us to have the opportunity to practice what we say. That's true. Now let me give you something to practice that, because now you're going to make it be a part of you. And it's awesome. Because then when you're in the flow, it just comes. It's like boom. There also is no thinking about it when well, I shouldn't say that, but there's just it's appearance that there's no thinking about it, because an adversity will come and it just goes like this. You shift with it, and everybody else around you, man. But did you see that? Yeah, everything's good. Everybody else going off. Whoa, wait a minute, everything's good. Yeah, and then they go, all right then. I had that occur one time in my office. Like the world blew up, but then because some of us were like, yeah, that just happened. Everything's good. Let's move over here and do this, that, and the third. And everybody else was like, all right. You know what I mean? Yeah, it becomes like that. So yeah, wow, that's awesome. I'm going to change my word now or my thinking now to harmony, because I've been thinking balance. When something takes place, I got to balance myself. Because I was with that yin and yang. I think, I got to balance myself. It's out of balance, But now the download I just got is acceptance. It's acceptance and finding harmony. It's acceptance. That word just came flowing through. Yeah, it's acceptance.
That's the key.
Yeah. Wow.
So
thank you.
I was reminded of things. So last week I had the opportunity to share some of my journeys, and hopefully I'll get another opportunity to share another. I wanted to give some basic or some magnificent practical applications, so that we can understand the mechanics of what we go through when we encounter an experience. This will help us really look at it objectively and not subject ourselves to what we think should be happening. So I'll use a scenario, and I use this in my, when I do my mind training courses. And usually when I'm sitting in a live setting, I walk through people. I walk everyone through this. So in the beginning, I say, everyone woke up this morning, right? And everyone's like, yeah, of course we're here. And that was great. And I said, did everyone brush their teeth? And, and they're like, Yeah, great. That's nice. I'm grateful that you did.
Right.
So did anyone have any toothpaste on the side of their mouth when they were, sometimes you get toothpaste on the side. And I said, well, how do you know? I'm asking this to everyone, even the audience. How do we know that we have toothpaste on our mouth?
Someone paste it.
We look at the mirror.
Look at the mirror. Yes.
A reflection.
You see the reflection. And what happens in the moment we see the toothpaste when we look in the mirror?
You want to remove it.
Do you think about it?
No, you just do it.
Isn't it? I tell people that is what meditation is.
Wow.
It's you looking into the mirror and seeing what is there. And the moment that you see that there's something that doesn't belong there, you automatically will remove it away.
Say that again.
Mm-hmm.
One more again.
Mm-hmm.
One more time, please.
Right.
One more time.
So meditation is a mirror for us to, we'll use the word reflect, to see what is there. And when we do, we say, oh, that shouldn't be there. And we remove it automatically, naturally, without thought, because we know that shouldn't be there. It's automatic. So oftentimes people think, so many different things about meditation. I've heard students, say to me, well, meditation is supposed to stop your thoughts. I said, I'm not too sure about that. I wouldn't rely on that. And they look at me puzzled. What are you talking about? Isn't that what you're supposed to go and, get into the zone and just be peaceful and blissful? I said, I'm not sure about that either.
I'm not sure about that either.
We're like, what are we doing here if we're not going to be peaceful? I said, we're not making any guarantees.
It depends on your brain, boo.
I love that you said we're, because you were a collective speaking to that individual at that time. We're not going to just do it and be in what you just said. Just witness it and remove what doesn't serve you.
Yes. So the mere fact that when we go into meditation with objectively going into meditation, like I'm going to get something out of it, we actually shift the whole meditation practice. Right? I'm going to, even the time frame, I'm going to do it for 30 minutes. You shift, now you're fixed to something that's artificially present. It's like, no, if you're going to meditate for a time frame, don't fix on I'm going to do this and just to get it done, because you'll find yourself counting down in your head. Am I almost there? Am I almost there? And you will not be in the actual depth of meditation. You'll just be hovering to, oh, I'm sitting here and being still and relaxed, but you're not going to get into the actual place that you need to really need to be. So, but that does take practice, because in the beginning, you're going to be counting thoughts and you're going to be counting minutes and you're going to be like, this is crazy. That's going to occur. And the thing is to start to see, wow, I actually do that. I'm just seeing what's there. I'm just going to see what's there. And I'm looking, I think a lot. I think a lot of times. I think about a lot of things. I think about this a lot. I think about that a lot. Why do I think about all these things so much? You'll start to go through this, and then the mere observation puts you into another mode. I'm not participating in the generation of more thoughts. I'm observing what's there. And eventually you're like, why am I holding on to that? Like the toothpaste, you're going to let it go. And of course, no expectation. I think in the beginning, anything that we all do, I think part of our programming is I expect to get something out of this. And that expectation will lead to the second point I want to talk about. And that's when you move through life with expectations, you're setting yourself up for disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what is a disappointment? A disappointment is I want something, or I like something,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't get it. For some reason, the timing didn't work, that I didn't get it when I said I wanted to get it. And so automatically, the first thing that comes to mind is, I'm disappointed that I didn't get it. I'm disappointed that the circumstances weren't the way I wanted them to be, right? So basically, our expectations are like one student said to me, "It's a setup." I'm like, "Yeah, you get it. If you have expectations, you're setting yourself up." And he said, "But what about, I expect things to be good." I said, "Same thing. What about when they're not good? You're setting yourself up. You're going to get disappointed." So I said, now, I'm not saying not to have intentions. That's a distinction. Intentions are not in the realm of good or bad. Now, this may take some thinking or some reflection, because one might see an intention as the same as an expectation. They're not the same. Intention has nothing to do with an actual expectation of an outcome. Like, for instance, I'll use this example. I intend to drive to New York. Along the way, my wheel may get flat, but my intention is still to get to New York. So I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get that wheel fixed. I'm going to be back on the road going to where I need to go. Now, expectation is I'm going to go to New York and everything's going to be smooth.
Wow. Wait, wow. Wow.
I'm gonna ring the bell and let that sink in for a little bit, okay?
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, if you, well, first of all, I want to give a shout out to everyone that's watching us live. And if you're watching this on a replay, do #replay. And we see you, Tiffany and Amanda and Ray.
Amanda.
Amazing goddesses and queens out there.
Hey, Rain.
Oh my gosh. And don't forget, all this stuff David is dropping. You guys need to make sure you're writing it down. Watch this vid probably at least 3 or 4 times. Like he said, let it sink in, because we're used to things being certain ways. And he's really, he's parting the Red Sea right now for us. So right now, okay? So, okay. Oh my gosh. Journal it. Yes. Journal what you are receiving, so you can keep it with you. And also drop your ahas on your page. Very important. On your page. Tag David and tag us.
Yes.
Go ahead, David. I'm through.
If we don't have a practice, it can seem like things don't really work.
So let's continue, because that's just the beginning. So there's these 3 stages in which we move through in life that are very common, because we don't have a practice. If we don't have a practice, it can seem like things don't really work out all the time, and we could be in that mindset. And so there's 3 situations that are going on that we may or may not be aware of. So the first stage that we move through based on expectations is part of what we call the setup, is that the first one is disappointment. That's because I have likes and dislikes. I have a whole big, a matter of fact, in the course, I tell everybody to write down their likes on one side of the column, and on the other side, write their dislikes. And interesting enough, you see people in there writing it down, and you're like, do we have enough time? And I said, no, keep going, get them all in there. Use the other side of the sheet, get them all in there. I want to see how many likes and dislikes you have. And I said, you don't have to stop here. Go home and keep writing. And then you find out most of the times we're walking through life with 2 bowls of likes and dislikes. And we put more emphasis on the things that we don't like than the things that we do like. And I know people, no, that's not how it works for me. I was like, well, let's test it out. Let's test it out. You didn't get your paycheck. It's Friday. You didn't get your paycheck. Which category does that fall inside of? I don't like this. So let's use that as an example so we can make it real, because I think people have an attachment to this. So it's Friday. I look into my bank account and a direct deposit didn't happen. So automatically, how I'm going to feel about this? How are you going to feel about that?
Mad at the bank. How can I pay my rent?
Mm-hmm.
How I'm gonna eat? Don't have kids. Oh my gosh, what the kids gonna eat?
Oh yeah, that makes it more.
Yes.
Highly upset.
You can feel the so you're going to feel the first stage of, you're going to feel disappointed at first, because you're on there, you're like do 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 do, or you at there swiping your card at the supermarket, and you're like, man, and you're like, oh wait, I know I got money. It's Friday. I got paid. Oh no. It says, ma'am, you're going to have to step out of line because, you got a lot of people here. What's going on? So the first thing you're going to feel inside, you're going to feel something inside either your solar plexus or your gut. You're going to feel something drop. And you're like, what's wrong? And so you're like, all right, I'll call the bank. What's going on? They're like, deposit wasn't made. You need to check with your employer or where you get your source of your income from. And then you're calling them, hey, what's going on? Oh, we have a problem with HR. Something went wrong with the system, blah, blah, blah. So when do you want your money? Next week, Wednesday. Huh? Not at that moment, you moved out of the realm of disappointment and you went to frustration, which is the second level. The first level, what occurs is, I'm going to give y'all a secret. This is a secret. What occurs is the action occurs one time. You go in, swipe your card, there's no money. Something physically happens inside your space in alignment with your thinking. In your mind, you're like, I don't like this. And then physically, you feel it. Something inside your solar plexus or your gut will start to shift. It's going to feel uncomfortable.
Wow.
And then that uncomfortable feeling is going to register into your brain and then into your mind. And it's like, I don't like this feeling now. So you're getting twice hit. I don't like the situation. And I don't like the feeling that is caused now. Now, we don't say that I caused it. We say that the situation caused me to feel this way. But technically, you caused the feeling. Your own thinking. And because it's continuing and you don't know what to do to make it stop, you go to being frustrated. And what is frustration? Frustration broken down says it's like this. I don't like this and I want it to stop. So the reason why we are frustrated, any reason we're frustrated is based on, I don't like the situation. I don't like the way it's making me feel. And I want it to stop, because no one wants to feel uneasy. That's not a natural stage. And if we get on the phone and start calling to different individuals, if we're not in the harmonious mindset, we're going to start talking to them in a frustrated way. And then you'll feel here in your throat chakra is going to feel a little clogged up. You're going to feel a little congested, and you're going to have to exert your energy to speak a little louder because you're feeling a little stuck in here. And the person said, calm down. I don't know what's going on. I'm just doing it because I need you to hear me, because you really start to feel closed up here. It's a physical sensation. If you observe yourself moving through this, you'll realize, yep, that happens.
Oh, wow.
And that's why you start talking loud, because the sensation, you feel like a little closed off. And then, if you don't shift, if you don't know what to do, you don't have a tool to shift that, you will move into the third stage. The third stage is anger. What is anger? Anger is disappointment plus frustration equals anger. I don't like this. I want it to stop. And I'm angry because I don't know how. The reason we become angry is because we don't know what to do about the situation. Right? And at that particular point, our breathing has also changed another way. We're now getting to hyperventilating. We're now triggering other synapses in our brain to say something is really wrong. You're not breathing. It's going to start creating a chemical reaction that's going to put you into a state of fear.
Mm.
And then your body is now getting into a moment. Do I need to run? Do I need to protect myself? What's going on here? And this is why we get into a protective nature when we're angry. Then we start becoming argumentative because we feel as though I need to protect my being, my space. You're making me not breathe right. So I need to fight you to stop this from happening. The thing is, we caused all that.
Every last part. Wow.
So we reel it back in. Let's reel it back. Expectation is the cause.
Mm.
The expectation. So like as I shared, last week, I was talking about like, from like the Buddhist mindset, the Buddhist tradition, teaching. One of the things is like, we talk about suffering. We have an understanding of suffering, right? And there's a lot of times people's like, Buddhists always talking about suffering this, suffering that. Enough with the suffering. But the thing is to help us understand what is the cause of suffering, not the symptoms of suffering. When we understand the root causes of the things that are evident in our life, then we can actually truly transform them. If we're just skating around the edge and just I'm just happy now, and then when I fall, oh, I'll be all right, and then we're like, oh, and then we get into these modes of disappointment, frustration, and anger, and we try to artificially change them through substances and food and alcohol, things that actually really cause more causes. Because now we haven't changed the situation, we haven't shifted the energy at all, we haven't done anything to the cause. We just numbed it for a moment. We put a Band-Aid, but we haven't shifted the actual cause. So again, when I walk around with these expectations that everything is going to be all right, everything's going to be perfect, everything's going to be great, every single moment that I'm breathing, if that's my expectation, what are you going to do when the thing shifts? So even when we're meditating, that's why I shared with that at the beginning, not to go into the expectation. Have intention, but not expecting. Right?
Yeah.
Not having an expectation. And then when we're just looking into the mirror and reflecting, we can see how many causes am I carrying around? How many causes of my expectations am I carrying around?
Oh, wow.
Right? And then you start to finish. And you get in, going back to the Wu-Ji and harmonizing. I'm taking each experience as it comes to me as a way to see myself and to govern myself. It's a way to, as a barometer, to see where am I in my consciousness? Where am I in my own practice for those that are practicing? So when a new situation arises, I'm eager to see where I am. I'm eager to say, what is this that you're showing me? Then I'm harmonizing with the situation and not labeling it as this is bad, this is wrong, this is terrible, I wish this didn't happen to me, ...
Ooh. That was all that. Yes. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I need to ring the bell.
Yes.
Like screaming, ringing the bell.
Talk about staying in the flow. This is being in the flow. This is what it looks like. This is the flow. Welcome. We have a question for you, David.
Yes.
Rain Sama is asking, what happens when someone believes you're the cause of their discomfort? Oh,
this
yes.
is
Yes.
$1 million question.
Yes, it is. Wow.
Question. So, because this is a reality that I believe a lot of people are dealing with in this very second. As a matter of fact, since our last time together, I was observing that very thing. Thousands of people are blaming this one individual because they did not, I'm not going to say his name, but they didn't like his comedy that he did. And they're like blaming him. And I was observing all these different frequencies and I was observing how he was reacting. And I was like, he must have some practice, some kind of trick. Because he was being objective and that was rubbing people the wrong way. And so I was observing it as another mirror, as like how because I've had people, I'll use the word attack because that's the word people would use. Why are you attacking me? I didn't do anything. Well, you're the reason why this situation is like this. So what you do in that moment, because you don't want to fall inside your expectation, fall into the 3 different stages: disappointment, frustration, and anger either. I want to walk you through what you need to do in this. When you're in that moment, this is what you need to do. It's like, you know, when you're in the airplane, it's like when the oxygen mask falls down, to cover your mouth, cover your face, you know, first, and then the person beside you. First thing you need to do is breathe. When that person is coming at you like that, take in the deepest breath and let it out as slow as possible. Now, if you're practicing this and you can do it for a minute, you already are ready for these situations. Because if you can stand in front of a person, they're attacking you, and you can hold your breath in alignment for a solid minute, when you come out, the person is also going to diffuse a bit as well. And you also have checked in and say, you're going to start asking questions from a compassionate mindset. So as you're breathing in, you're releasing, what have I done? See, the first thing is we don't want to accept that I had caused something. So because when we do that, we get into the balancing act. No, I didn't do anything. You did. And then now it goes back and forth. Boom. And then boom, boom. Now you're sparring with the person. And then when you're sparring, somebody's going to get injured. And depending on how injured the person has been in the past, the deeper the injury is going to go. Don't jump into a sparring match. Even say to the person, I am listening to what you have to say. I do not know what I did to cause this situation, but I will hear you. And you get into the listening mode. And it's going to take some work. That's why we got to practice, because you want to be ready. And when these things come up, you don't want to be surprised. Oh, I didn't do anything. Or you start to react as a response because you want to protect yourself. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. We start to defend. And once we do that, what we do to the other person who is injured or may feel, injured by something we did or said, now we're making what they're saying not valid. And now we double dosed on them. You should get into it's important for us to exercise compassion and I don't know what's ailing you right now, but I want to hear what's there for you. And then sit back and just start breathing and listening and listening. Because you have to see, when we do the work, we understand that this person doesn't have the tools to help themselves right now. So they're suffering. When you move out of the mind that there's something wrong, then you start to move into something called compassion. And then you start to look at yourself and ask from your practice and say, what could I share with them that would be beneficial in this moment? Not based on protecting my own personal interests or my ego. But this person is suffering. So what can I do to assist this person? Right? So we don't engage into a sparring match. That doesn't help. Someone's going to get injured. Both of you may get injured. And it doesn't create a healthy outcome. And I know that some people's ego is going to say, but I need to assert myself, right? Peace, love, and happiness is not going to work in this scenario, right? And I will say then you don't know the power of peace, love, and happiness.
Right.
So I would say that as an exercise and then go a little deeper. Because when you know the power of love, you actually know what it's capable of doing, just accept that you may not be there right now and just be all right with that. Just be all right with that. And if you're coming from a place still that you're measuring up inside of this is right and this is wrong, or I like this and I don't like this, then it's difficult for you in that moment to be with love because you're trying to do a balancing act. It's going to take a lot of energy. It may take time. And if you're not in the actual acceptance mode. So somebody say, well, how do you let them people do that to you? I've heard this from my time. I'm like, they didn't do anything to me. You let them talk, do you know they did this? I said, they didn't do anything to me. They did something, but they didn't do that to me because I didn't accept that into my space, right? So earlier I said it was a secret to this because secret to me is also something that's sacred. It's a sacred act when someone comes to you in pain and that you could hear their pain and you allow yourself to go into the mode of thinking, this person is suffering. What could I do? What way can I be with this person to help them alleviate their suffering? Just be with them and say what is there. My friend, I see that you're suffering. I am so sorry that you're going through this. What can I do to help you? And they may still be like, nah, 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 nah. and you speak to what is there. I understand that you're angry. Can we just breathe for a moment right now? Could we just breathe? So I want to share about the practical application when we're dealing with our own anger and the angers of others. How do we reduce moving from anger and frustration and disappointment? How do we reduce this? Because it does show up, you know. I remember one time I was on a call with an agency, a government agency that deals with money. And they had stuff all mixed up, and I'm like, I don't understand. How are we still going through this? 2014, I sent this stuff in. Why are we still? This is 2021. Why? I'm like, I'm literally getting out of my own zone of harmony. I'm like, you know, I got to assert myself. These people are just not getting it right. So I fixed my mind that this was wrong in that moment, and I need to make it right. You can see your whole energy. I need to make this right, and so. That wasn't going to change anything. Now I'm upset. Person's like, sir, they're not helping. Do you need to do this? I'm like, I did that already. Why don't you have it there? And so in that moment, you're not in alignment with your true nature. You're not in your Wu-Ji state of harmonizing. You're out of your element of being in alignment to even receive the wisdom from your soul to know exactly what to do in that moment. We broke the connection. Our frequency has shifted. The transmission is no longer steady. So in that moment, that's another level that I haven't even talked about, is when we cut our transmission off from our soul. we feel that, and then we start to feel. Hold that point because we're going to get there in a moment.
All right.
So I'm angry and I'm in this shifted reality, and now I'm dealing with this. And then I find myself, wait a minute. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Just breathe for a minute. Just breathe. I take a deep breath and I go as calm as I can. My voice drops down into a low octave. I'm like, shift this. Just breathe, and I drop into a low octave like this. Like my voice went into this octave like this. And I said, ma'am, is there anything that I can do that will help this move along? And then everything started to shift. She responded differently. I responded differently. She didn't feel like she was in a sparring match that she didn't want to be in at 9 o'clock in the morning, because who wants to be sparring in the morning like that? I started
to have my coffee. You just yelling at me.
This guy, and I'm like, you know what? This is, in reality, this is not even real, because eventually this is going to go away. I don't know what's going on in their world. All I know is I sent it in 3 times and I did what I'm supposed to do. There's nothing to be upset about, actually. And I shifted even more. And then later on, after I got off the call, I made a note to myself that I went into that call with the mindset that I'm going to be right. And that was the cause of my anger. Not that woman, not that agency, and not whatever was going on. I caused myself to be angry. So to answer the question, when the person is coming to you and saying, you're the cause of my anger, for a moment, I would like you to be inside of an acceptance mode for the purpose of transforming. That person may not have a tool to see. So you have to be the mirror for them.
Amanda said, David, can you just come in my life and be my fire extinguisher? I'm just saying. She's like, I'm just saying, can you just, my address is, she ready. And you in a spaceship, D, so you can just fly on over to Amanda's house and be, boo, what you need me to do, boo? What you need?
We will do that kind of work tonight. And then all you have to do from now on, do not engage in conversation. Deep breath.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now I'm gonna level this up for those who are like, I'm aware of what you're saying and I'm ready. I'm gonna level this up now. And then I'm gonna circle back to a pin that I put into the atmosphere there. So I'm gonna circle back. Now, how do we level up? You're practicing whatever it is. I know everyone has a practice. So let's level up. How about we engage the people in our life as opposed to maybe, sharing about what we saw on TV or the news? How about we engage in this as a conversation with the people in our life? So that we start to get into a causation kind of conversation. So last week we had the word of, what's the flow going on with you? You're going to want to go a little deeper and say, tell me about some of the things that you're moving through in your life. Right? Just pick one area, because we don't want to have like 10 of them. Just pick one area. And let's engage. I'm in your life. So let's engage in this conversation. What's going on? What's the flow is going on in your life? What the flow is in your life? And what are you managing right now that you need some assistance with? So that you can be present with them in a way that's the way, I would say, the way we should be with each other. That we can be in, I would say, also a state of compassion. And you can be in a state of causation from another level. We all know there are ups and downs in life, right? So let's just accept that. Ups and downs, like the waves of the ocean, will move you along Move your boat, your vehicle, your spaceship along, right? If there's no ups and downs, you're just going to sit still.
And be bored.
And you'd be like, nothing's happening. Well, it's no ups and downs. Go look at the ocean. You see the waves, they're doing this. See the boats, they're doing this. And what is it doing? It's not just going up and down like this. It's moving up and down.
Going back, forward. Going forward.
The vocal cords coming, the sound coming out our voice. If you looked at it on a I'm going to say spectrometer, but that's another tool. You can see how your voice moves in waves or wavelengths, right? It's also light waves. You know, like we're going in, y'all. We're going in. So we know that inflections in our voice go up and down, up and down, up and down. Essentially, we're moving forward, right? So when we match our intentions with our voice, they become one. We're moving up and down, and then all the elements in the atmosphere that are also in wavelength that are synchronized or harmonized are moving in with the same intention. Now, when we move in frequency, I know we're jumping a little bit, but when we move with a certain frequency in our thinking, in our speaking, in our being, when we move with a certain frequency, let's say the frequency of manifestation, you know, as I arise this morning, I'm gonna cause these things to be in my existence. And I'm going to allow myself to navigate and be present to all things that show up for myself. And so I'm going to also reduce my list of goods, my good list and bad list, my likes and dislikes, what I want and what I don't want. I'm going to reduce that throughout this day. And I'm going to observe them as they show up. So meditation is not always sitting still. We have different formats of meditation. Moving meditation is also another one, you know. And so why am I saying this? So I wanted to, for those who are ready to level up, you don't have to wait till the situation gets to a certain point to be present. You can just assume, and it's one of the rare moments, so I'll just say, make an assumption. Make the assumption, and I'll also use this in mathematical terminology, make the assumption that there's going to be some causes with another human being. And make it your effort to be present with them. Right? Now, there's a caveat to this. There are certain conditions where this may not work. And I'll talk about two of these. Well, no, I'm going to walk through all of them. If the person is inebriated, then it's not going to work. If they're under the influence of a substance, it's not going to work. So you have to make a decision at that point to remove yourself from the space, because it's not going to work. The person is not in the mindset to receive. If there's so there's another third one, and we don't put a lot of emphasis on this from like the Buddhist mindset. We just hold compassion that a person might be dealing with a mental affliction, right? So you have to be very cautious with the individual that you're being with, because there are people who are dealing with certain traumas of life that require a different type of approach. Because of there may be like some cognitive disconnections. There may be some other elements. So you have to really get into an awareness. Who is before me that's having this? And then there's another level that may be at cause. And that's, I mentioned earlier about, it's the cause and effect, or we may say as karma, that may be at hand, right? Some things have to play themselves out too, because this person may have been generating certain type of energy, and then they are moving it towards you to say that, you know, but they're the generator and they don't know that. And they may be fixed on it and attached to it, or committed to doing that as a way of being. I've heard people say that anger gets things done. I'm like, I'm not, that might be true in some cases. But I will say that the outcome, you might get it done, it won't be harmonious. And you might have caused trauma for someone that you are not aware of. Yeah, they may react it, but you traumatize someone to react. That's not harmonious. Now you're just your anger and reverberating out as a frequency into someone else's world. Yeah. There's a reality. When we're angry, we don't keep it to ourselves, unfortunately. We want to share our anger with everyone we encounter. We want to be anger. We want to be gift-giving anger. Oh,
gift-giving anger.
You have some anger. Take some of this anger. And it's like, so.
Be angry with me.
Be angry with me.
Here, Bear.
I want to share, then I'm sharing all this because I wanted to break down, because there's a lot of dynamics in that question. It is the $1 million question, because we do encounter this. Someone says, well, you're the reason why this situation is the way it is. And then you want to realize that that person is suffering big time because they don't see themselves, one, as being a powerful being that can create all outcomes in their life, right? And that they are, in fact, recreating this moment over and over again. It becomes, they went from pain to suffering. Remember we talked about that? Somebody poked me with a knife and I'm going to feel the pain. They keep poking me. That's suffering, because what? I didn't stop it. And this person doesn't know how to make it stop. So you have to make a decision in this moment, and you have to come from a place of love, and don't get into the sparring match. Just say, I see that you're having a very difficult time, and you want to be mindful of your breathing as well. And you want to just say to the person, is there anything that I could do to help you or assist you in this moment? Right? And they may still be fixed in, well, it's you, and you just need to be out of my life. It's like, and then you ask them, is that really going to help you? I just want to know before we take an action here, is that really going to help you? And they're like, yes. And then you can see they're still committed, because they fixed. And you're like, in this moment, could you just breathe with me? I'm not going to give up on this conversation. I'm here with you. Just for a moment, can we just take a deep breath together? So what happens is the physical sensation that the person is responding to in their anger is what's triggering the anger. It's the physical sensation that I am not able to breathe freely. And it's now causing the synapses to run rampant. And it's sending a chemical reaction into my body. And I'm feeling like I need to run or protect myself. Which one is it? And if you can get them to breathe to reduce that, then they can move that frequency, and then they can start coming down a bit and calming. And they'll get to this stage and moving from anger. And you may even tell them, like I tell people, like, there's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's working. All right, you do know what to do. Right now, how about you breathe? You know how to do that. Let's breathe. Let's breathe together. Let's breathe. And I will say this, sometimes there's situations when the person is not just in angry, they may be in rage. And you have to be very mindful that at that particular time, you may need to exit.
Yeah.
Area.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Yeah.
This person has committed to being in another state that is now destructive. And you have to be observant at that particular time to say, I need to not be here. Like, how about we have this conversation at another time? And then you move yourself. And you just remove yourself. You do not have to get into the sparring match. Don't feel like you need to. Remove yourself. There's things that I just listened to in the last 48 hours because people didn't remove themselves. They're not here.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a reality, and some people don't know how to manage themselves when they're there, and they do things enraged, and they're out of their mind. They literally are out of their mind.
Yeah.
They'll do something reactionary, thinking that they are now protecting themselves, and they cause injury onto another human being. And we don't want to encourage that or be present for that. So we have to be intelligent.
Yes. I literally had to remove myself. I felt like there was a knife coming. Someone I was engaged, someone was beyond. They became out of control, beyond. The anger was so hot that the spirit said, remove yourself from the situation. And by removing it, took away, because it wasn't just me and what occurred in that moment. You know, so they brought whatever happened before. They got angry with the moment, and then I just had to go and leave because something was about to happen. And that is I felt it. That's a frightful feeling for the person they're going through, and they're literally feeling that they have to save it. They don't know what it is, but you know how you think someone's attacking you, and you feel you have to save your own life, and you just like get away. We don't think about things that deeply. We just want to say, well, that person was crazy. This was happening. He was mad. He was wrong. He was terrible. He's a monster. They say all that in the news when things like this happen, but they never take that deep look inside and have that conversation about it. I even have told people, you have to get away from this situation. You have to know when to do that, being intelligent. But then when we don't do that, it comes to what David is saying also. We have to look within ourselves. What makes us unable to do that too?
Right.
You know?
Being stuck.
Being stuck.
Your exit is more powerful than your words at times.
Side to this, I want to just share really briefly. You know, when we are engaged, I'll just call it out. When we're dealing with this type of abuse, it's an abuse. Oftentimes we feel that we need to be there for whatever we're moving through. We feel as though that we get into also another aspect of we don't want to disappoint someone, right? So we accept the behavior. So we go to another spectrum. And so the mechanics can work in two different ways. That on the receiving side, you may feel committed for whatever, you know, this could be a family member, a spouse, a friend. For some reason, we may feel committed to being in this scenario. And we have to be observant of oneself. Like, why, no, I need to remove myself from this. This person may not have the ability or tool to be in harmony right now. So let me do what is harmonious. And that may look like, I'm going to take a walk and I'll be back. Let's talk when I get back. Or how about we have this call tomorrow, right? Or an hour from now. And then, you know, you're not, as I said before, when my situation about, we're not giving up, we're just giving it away. Right? And it's also allowing and accepting. It's a form of accepting. And also we're being compassionate too. You know, I remember one time I was in a setting with some, it was a gathering, and there was some, we invited different people from different spiritual backgrounds and practices from all around the globe, and different people were there. It was a beautiful setting. And we invited these Buddhist monks to come, and they came. And the abbot, they invited him to speak. And so he was like, he just said later he'll speak. He was just observing. And I'm looking at him, observed the whole situation. And at some point, he spoke very briefly, and then he left. And we're like, why is they're leaving? Why are they? It was him and two assistants, so they all left. And so the person who invited him like ran out, and then I went out, and I was like, hey, what happened? They had something else to participate in. And in that moment, I realized that they're like, there's perhaps in this particular setting, we're not able to be present. And so we're going to take the compassionate act and we're going to move on. This is not a setting for us to participate in. And because there was some releasing of some high energy, and a lot of people were moving through some frustrations of things that they were managing in their life. As we know, we're doing work, and so a lot of things come up. And from the I learned later from just studying and taking on the practice of Buddhism why they left. Because if you are in a situation and you see you can't help someone, then your best action is to kind of keep it moving. Your exit is more powerful than your words at times. They're like, why did they move? Why did they leave? And if you're a studying person, you may think about what was going on. Like the monks left.
Wait, the monks?
The monks left? I know they go through everything, all kinds of stuff. But you can see if someone doesn't have a tool, what is your presence going to do? I mean, sometimes it could be agitating. Like, you know, you think you're so good. You think you're so this. You know, you think you're so special.
Wow. You
think you're so perfect. You got the perfect practice. I'm over here suffering. That happens.
It does.
So sometimes you just gotta, you know, see what's there, and when you're aligned with your channel and your transmission is open, you're like, hey, let me get out of my head. What's supposed to be here? What's the flow that should be here? You should just go ahead and move from the space and come back at a later time. And I've done that personally. I've been in a situation where I'm like, hey, move it along.
They're all in that
oh my God.
They're all in that space. Did you see that? Did you see that? Yes, reset.
And you know, man, spirit removes me from situations all the time, and I don't even know what's going on. So we gotta go. Oh, okay, boom, leave. And then after I go deeper, finding answers, and then this, that, and I'm just like, ooh, okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, all corners of life, because whoa, that could have been real ugly.
Yes. Wow, Jess. Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much, David. What?
Wow,
I'm sorry. Once again.
Wow.
Grow with the flow, my friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, you all that's, you know, made the request last week. Dee was like, you got to be on here 5-10 more times. I was like, all right. I see I'm to be present here. And, you know, there's different things. So I know we're getting to that.
We are. And I know you do also have a meeting.
Yeah, I'm good up until
present to win.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, just go like this or something.
So I want to share a story.
Story time. Okay, I'm hitting you.
Story time.
Got your drink. Got your drink.
I'd like to share a story. I want to actually, let's play a little game, because I want us to all witness the flow. So I want to open the floor to maybe a topic, a subject, or a place. Yeah, a topic or subject is similar. Subject or a place that you are feeling right now that I could share a story about, so we can all tune in.
I'm excited about this. Wait, you want us to pick, or do you want the audience?
Or do you want the audience? Because I'm looking at the audience.
I'm free to whoever speaks first.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited.
The audience hasn't said anything yet, so.
Do you want to go to a special place?
I'm like in 5 dimensions right now, so you know me.
Body share. Go ahead and put it into, and then I'll share a story.
Well, David, we've been in fairyland this week a lot because my fairies have been very active. So if you want to go there, I am open to that. They're open to it. But if you want to go to another world, it's okay with you.
Go ahead and declare it. and then I'm going to pull from a experience in my life. But I wanted to do that because I wanted to share how the flow works so we can demonstrate it. So it's not so conceptual. You know, it's me allowing to receive or see, and then I'll just align my energy and pattern as well. So fairyland. All right. So so I'm sitting on a mat in a 10-day Vipassana silent retreat meditation. I'm 4 days in and I'm suffering greatly. My mind is highly disturbed because this is a meditation course and you're supposed to be peaceful, and this is not peaceful. What is going on? And when I say painful, I mean my knees are on fire, like someone drove a nail underneath my kneecaps and was pounding it over and over again. Yeah, like that face is what I was having the whole time. It was agonizing. And I don't have issues with my knees. I'm relatively quite athletic. So I'm like, what is going on with my knees? I don't understand this. I don't have any injuries to my knees. I never had an injury to my knees. And so the reason why I would have this pain does not make any sense to me at all. I'm sitting on this mat and reflecting back on what the teacher told me 3 days ago. I'm sitting there and we have the opportunity to break the silence, to ask any questions or to give a check-in. So the teacher, she's assistant teacher, she says to me, she says in her Thai voice, is very, Thai people have this frequencies that when they're speaking compassionately, it's very soft. So she says, so how is the course going for you? I said, it's okay. She said, I guess she's seen my face, and she says, are you experiencing any pain?
You got out close, right?
Yeah, she leaned in, right? And I said, yes. And like, she smiled brightly, and she said, that's really good. What?
Right, are you crazy?
I was like, these people crazy. And then so I'm reflecting. It's now the 4th day. And she told me that like the day one. I'm like, it's 4 days. And I'm sitting there reflecting. And she told me to ignore the pain. Ignore the pain? How do you ignore pain? I don't understand that. So we had a break. It was just before sunset. I go back, we have a 10-minute break. I go into my quarters and I'm pacing back and forth. I'm telling myself, gotta release, man. She told you what to do. You just gotta do it. You just gotta do it. I was like, you know what to do. You know what to do. You've been in training in martial arts. You've done this, you've done that. You know what to do. Just do it. Stop messing around. And I'm like, all right, just go in there. Be determined. They already gave you the instructions. Why are you not doing it? So I go back and sit. Now, mind you, the whole 4 days, I've been adding more pillows so I can almost have a seat, so I can alleviate myself from the pain, so I can have some comfort, right? So I put all these mats, they're about 9 inches high, and I almost had like a sofa situation set up. So my knees could be up in the air, and that didn't change anything. So I'm sitting there like, all right. So I come back, I look at it, and I look at how ridiculous it looks because it's like the highest one. I'm looking at everybody's mats, and I'm like, it's the highest one. So I'm like, all right, I took all the mats away, and I was like, I'm going back to the original 2 mats that they set there when we started. So I did a reset. All right, I want to sit there. All right. She told me to move my attention, moving my attention around, breathing, focusing on my breath, going in and up, in and out, in and out, moving my attention. I get to the pain, I ignore it. I move my attention to my foot. I move it to my shoulder. I move my attention to my other shoulder. I move it to my tip of my nose. Whatever I did, I've tried not to focus on the pain. So I was like, ooh, I think maybe this is working. So all of a sudden, very slowly, I feel heat in my knees. And I said, keep breathing, keep breathing. But in my mind, I was saying also at the same time, starting to come up, keep breathing, keep breathing. And then all of a sudden, start the tingling sensation. I'm like, uh-oh, doing it. The pain's about to come. And all of a sudden, the tingling sensation goes, doom, 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 doom. Now I was moving with the heartbeat. Then now it's sharp pains. Then it's moving faster. Then it's moving faster. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I am not breaking my position. I was in a half lotus. I'm not breaking my position. I went in an upright position and I'm like, I'm not moving my legs. I'm not doing anything. I started breathing, focusing on, I became determined. I'm breathing, I'm focusing on my breathing. That pain came in there sharp. And it was just like, at some point, it was like a battle. I was trying to breathe freely and the pain was boom, boom, boom. Oh no, you yeah, you trying to breathe freely? And like, I was fighting. I was literally like, I was sparring with this pain and I wasn't going to let it win. I was like, no, you're not going to do this. We're not doing this. I'm going to sit. And it's a 1 hour sitting this time. Sun is setting and I'm like, breathe. And then my rational mind said, if this pain keeps doing this, you're going to black out because your brain is going to be like, that's enough. So I was feeling the sensations coming up my spinal cord, saying, "Ooh, this going. I don't think this is going to be good." So then, because I was so determined, I was breathing. I started to feel this vibration in my body, started to reverberate like electricity. It was moving from my feet to the top of my head. From the back of my neck all the way down to, started vibrating at a high frequency. I'm like, oh, what is this? Then my attention was on that and my breathing. And the pain started to like go into the background a little. And then this energy was like, and I felt it all the way down into my cells. I'm like, what is this? What is this? What is this? And then all of a sudden, it was as if something went snap, like something broke. And I broke through something and it's like I went into this another atmosphere and I'm listening to these voices speak. Me and these voices. So I hear these voices say, let me go into the. Do you know why that you're experiencing this pain? No. Why is this pain here? Are you familiar with the statement weak in the knees? Yeah. What does that got to do with this pain? You know what the cause of it is? Is when someone doesn't do something with confidence. So we're going to show you where the original cause of this pain comes from. Pain and suffering can be inherited from previous generations. This transmission of this pain is not from your current existence. You inherited this pain from 4 generations. Your great-grandfather. They said, we're not going to get into the particulars of the scenario, but just know that this is going to end with you if you should choose. This pain that you're experiencing was from a decision that your grandfather was dealing with. And because it wasn't one that was harmonious, the energy or the frequency was trapped in the knees. If you can reflect on this moment right now that your grandfather had issues with his knees. Oh, yeah, he did. Your father had issues with his knees. What? You have the opportunity right now to break this and free this energy in this moment right now. So now I'm curious. I'm like, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Because the pain was still pounding, but I was I was in a different consciousness, another level of consciousness where the pain was not as loud as the voices I was hearing. And in that moment, they said, just keep breathing and allow this to pass. And then there was silence. And then I felt the vibration on my right side first in my knee. They said, it's going to be released right now because you've committed yourself to releasing this energy. It is going to be done and it'll be no more. And then the energy on my right knee went down like water and it flowed down. It felt like water moving and it went out my foot and there was no pain. Then on my left side, the pain was there and it started to reduce. And they said to me, there's going to be some residual pain in your left side, but eventually it will go away. They said, continue to practice. And then they gave me an instruction. We want you to seek out the source of the Vipassana meditation. We also want you to go to the mountain for 5 months and meditate 3 hours a day. And we're going to transmit to you some instructions for you to teach. And the reason why they did that is because I had asked the question, how do I want to teach, but I want it to be ABC. I want it to be so simple that you just get it. And so after I did the course, and then the pain was gone. The pain was gone. And still today, the pain is gone. Done. It's done. So I went up to the mountains, and every setting, I would sit for an hour. And then after I come out, they would give me a transmission, and I'll write down exactly what they were telling me. This is how you teach the course. This is the first day. And I wrote down the instructions. Matter of fact, what I shared earlier about the mirror, looking into the mirror, that was what they told me to use as a demonstration. The steps of disappointment, frustration, and anger, that's what they transmitted to me. Because it's so simple, you really do get it, right? And so they gave me a list of things, and they're like, use this as a demonstration. Speak to it like this. When someone's managing this, this is what you share with them. I mean, and I wrote it down, and I created these courses or the class from it. And each day, they were giving me opportunities to actually live it too, so it can go deeper. So I had different real life experiences come up where each instruction gave me the opportunity to actually, like, for it to sink in. So I wanted to wrap it up with this scenario, because I know that I've heard this myself from myself. And I'm going to, yeah. I did not give time for meditation before. I was familiar with meditation. My father introduced me to meditation, and I was familiar with it, but I didn't make the necessary time to go through the practice before, because I didn't see, at that particular time, I didn't understand its value. And what triggered this for me, we're speaking about fairies, what triggered this for me is when I was in a vegetarian restaurant in Thailand, and I was sitting at a table by myself, and there was some people sitting off to the side, and there was one person talking a lot, and there was an elder over there, and she kept looking at me, and I kept looking at her. I'm like, I'm supposed to connect with her. And she actually, like, so the guy that was talking a lot kind of asked me to join the table, but she was like, no, I want to talk to him. But she didn't say any words. So I was like, I need to go over there so I can talk to this lady. So I went over there and talked to her, and we had a separate conversation, and those two individuals that were sitting on the other side of the table actually left. And she and I engaged in the conversation. And then we left the restaurant. It's like, hey, let's meet tomorrow. Let's talk some more. So we talked some more. And I was telling her, she asked me, she had some questions. So she was like 74. And she said, how is it that you have this kind of mindset and you're from the US? I'm like, what? I don't understand your question. She's like, I've been to the US. And I'll never go back there again. She said, I'm not making, I said, please forgive me for what I'm about to say, but it's kind of a cesspool, if you ask me. I was like, yeah, I can see it. I can see it like that too. So she said, but really, like she said, I just want to let you know that your parents gave you something, a big gift. And you should know that this is big, because not a lot of people have this. And then she said to me after that, she said, so how often do you meditate? She like looked me right in my eyes. That was so shameful. Because here we are having these deep conversations, and I knew that I wasn't meditating. And I couldn't answer. I kind of held my head down a little bit in shame. I was like, I don't meditate often. And she looked at me. She got a motherly look on her face, and she said, how could you not be meditating? It's like standing at the door, not walking through. Woo! That is so hard. That was a wake-up call for me. So I wanted to share that with everyone. It was at that moment that I realized that I was shortchanging myself. And now that I walked through that door, I was like, oh, wow, why was I not doing this? Why was I not doing this? I do encourage everyone to have some form, some way, somehow. I do say it does connect you with your soul. Meditation without an expectation connects you with your soul. And your soul has already been created with all the things you need to be in this world. It's got the manual. Your soul has the manual how to be a human being.
Did you say respect the manual?
Well, that too.
I heard this is respect
That
the
too.
manual.
Yeah.
I just heard respect the manual. Woo.
Your soul has the manual how to
Respect. What? Say that again. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, David. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just repeating it. So I'll repeat it again. Your soul has the manual of how to be a human being.
Respect the manual.
Respect the manual. So they were finishing the statement. They wanted you to add that part.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I also got that myself in, so I knew it was powerful. I said, and we put that in because poof, I got that myself. My guys were like, poof, bam, let's do that. Ooh.
Wow.
I'm hyperventilating here, David, because that's very much what happened to my life. It was just on my back. It was on my back, and I passed out. I was showing up I had to show up every single day. You gotta show up. Even if you don't know how to do it, it's okay. After the voice, of course. Before it was just me, trying, and then, but yeah, when I met my spiritual team, the warmth of the energies and everything, And then it was, you gotta sit. And now I have different kinds of meditation, but yeah, I passed out and I was like, wait, what is going on? Where am I? Okay. And then the subtleness, it began. And I was like, okay, so at this time around, it's I was actually speaking to Ange about it yesterday, and I was like, my guys are asking me to go deeper onto for what we're doing now, because of what we're doing now, and because we have to go into different stages, and because we don't know, the flow sometimes doesn't just, the flow sometimes people, like you said, it will come to a point where we're being why, and then where are we gonna stay? Are we gonna go whoa back, or are we gonna go back into like, whoa, hold on? And even if I don't want to go there, like my whole spirit was like, no, we're gonna be here for now. We're gonna be here. We're just gonna be here for now. We're gonna be here because it's not our time to go. It is not our time to go yet. But when it's your time to go, you go back. And that relationship and stuff. So I'm so grateful for that. So grateful. Thank you so much. Wow. Talk about being in a different dimension, boo.
Ask for fairies.
I even felt the voice change. The voice changed. I was like, oh, okay.
You heard that?
You were there? Okay, got it.
You did it. Yeah.
All right. Okay, I see you. I hear you. Okay. Thank you
so much. There was two people telling that story. Well, forgive me. There was you, and then there was another being.
Yes.
Totally heard it when you said that. Oh, yes. Yeah. And I know we speak about the invisible realm. Yes, we speak about fairies. We speak about our spirit guides. We speak about our angels. Know that we're talking about the collective that we're all one with. And I just want to say that because someone is thinking about, someone's thinking, I can't do that. I can't do that. Remember, learning is on levels. And just because you witness someone on this level, you witness another person that level, you witness somebody on this level, you witness somebody on this level, you're all a part of it. You're all a part, and yes, you can. And yes, you are. That's what the Spirit said. Yes, you are. Put on down. Just breathe into it and accept. Yes, surrender. Trust and surrender. You got this.